Welcome to New Zealand.
Thank you so much. It's good to be here.
I guess doing what you do get the opportunity to travel to some places that you wouldn't typically get to go.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, especially with the Comic-Cons, because they are so huge all over the world. And I've been invited to Melbourne and then to come here, which is certainly a destination I've always wanted to come to.
Yeah.
There's a good feeling here in New Zealand. I got in last night, but it's fresh and clean and surrounded by water and compact, it seems. It would be great to be able to see more of the country, but
Yeah, hopefully you get out of the hotel room, because I know sometimes when you do these visits, it's like hotel room, venue,
yes,
home.
oftentimes. Australia was nice. I got a chance to go and the first leg go over and do my work, but then go dive the Great Barrier Reef, which was nice. And down in Cairns, not many people knew me. Cairns.
Yeah.
Many people didn't know who I was, but as soon as I got off the plane here, well, on the plane here, I was accosted by the stewardesses who just told me it's our favorite show, and oh, I got to get a photo for my father. And so I'm back to my New York or Los Angeles or Dallas or Austin, Texas life.
Yeah, because obviously you've been acting for, I mean, your career is illustrious and it's huge, but obviously Breaking Bad, I know in New Zealand, it's a huge show.
Yes.
Have you seen a shift in, because I mean, we're living in this era where TV is this huge shared experience and people are so excited. Have you noticed the huge, I guess it's been such a massive reaction to you?
Oh, absolutely.
There.
This is, you know, it's interesting. I would call this my third rise to stardom. You know?
Yeah, I've heard you say that.
Yes,
yeah, I've
because
heard you mention that.
It comes when it's supposed to. I would imagine I'm more grounded and rooted, and it won't take me away.
Yeah.
But certainly there are mile markers in my career. I have to do the right thing with Spike Lee. That was a huge mile marker, and certainly after this Breaking Bad has been, I'm known all over the world now internationally. Yeah. And people are very respectful because they feel like I embody all of the characteristics of Gus, and they're afraid that they won't see me smile, and they don't want to offend me in any way. Even very large, big men are cowed by my presence if I give them the Gus look. So it's very interesting.
Yeah, it's funny because now he is a character. I felt the same way. I was, you know, when I was thinking of meeting you, it's such a strong persona.
Yeah, absolutely. And but it's certainly, I have to remember that I created that. I wanted that to have that effect. I wanted to create a villain who was very upstanding and very morally within certain lines. There are things he would do and things he wouldn't do. So he did have a moral compass, so to speak, for a villainous human being.
No, that's what made him complex.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And these are the things I looked for. One of the things in preparing for the role that I noticed that Vincent Gilligan had written was hiding in plain sight. And that to me was a very interesting piece to take and run with, because how many folks do we know that we think that they're doing one job but they're really doing another, especially in our world today. And for Gus to be so polite and to give to the fun run and to be donating to the hospital, all these things that you know, if you're affluent in society and you have a consciousness that you do, but and here's the amazing part of it is he's doing something else on the side.
And just so bad. I mean, that line about killing an unborn child, that just hits so hard when you are this member of society. Like, it's just amazing moments.
I would kill your wife. I would kill your son. I would kill your infant daughter. Yeah, it's pretty strong stuff.
Did you find it easy to slip into that? Was that fun slipping into that role, or is it quite a shift?
I loved slipping into that. It was fun. It was quite a shift, but it was something that I gave myself an exercise. With every character I play, I try to give myself a challenge, one challenge. And what would it be for Gus? For Gus, it would be to be as calm and grounded and rooted and centered as possible, to be more of an observer of a human being and human nature and physical action of human beings than anything else. This was my exercise. Gus could tell if you were lying or not telling the truth. Yeah. Gus could see if you weren't going to do what he asked you to do. Gus could see your character. And so in many ways, he was the high priest of that world, because he knew when he tells Walt, never trust a drug dealer. This is something you just don't do, because you can't trust them because they don't trust themselves. So Gus had an insight into life that most businessmen, if they're selling toothpaste or selling computers, don't. And I thought that was very interesting, and I wanted to really cultivate that because that was my exercise. To do all that in a calm, relaxed state was really the exercise I gave myself. Never get excited, always relax, always be thinking about what the next move is. So Gus became the master chess player.
So incredibly zen.
Absolutely.
I'm curious about the con circuit, because something I quite like about you is you've embraced the fans and you seem to like meeting them and spending time with them. How do you find the convention circuit? Because it's a unique thing. You know, you've got people that are at the height of their career, and you've also got people that are at the other end of their career, looking back on something that happened, you know, years and years ago. Was there a decision-making process in embracing these sort of events?
Absolutely, a very good question, because I'm around fellow actors who I realize more and more, sitting at the table next to them or in the same room, that they aren't working actors, that this is their work now. And I can respect that and understand it, because the fans get such great pleasure from meeting folks that they've admired or adored for years. It's also, there can be a little bit of sadness for actors who aren't cultivating a career because this may have become easier. And for me, I was implored not to take part in too many Comic-Cons, because the perception is that you're over the hill and you're not working. I'm very grateful to be blazing a trail at this time in my career. It's difficult for me to fit all these in and work. I've just booked the Maze Runner franchise, which I'm really excited about.
I wanted to talk about that. It's huge.
It's huge. So I don't feel like this is my income. I feel like this is more for me to engage with the fans who have been loyal to my work.
Yeah.
And to give them a great deal of pleasure makes me happy. Yeah. Because for me, and I know there's some actors, we've all heard who they are, who just do this and never look up. Yeah. Never look up. But for me, it's about this. This is what we have in life. When we engage each other and people want to ask me a question about Gustavo, I'll answer one or two questions. I'll talk to them. In a way, it becomes a little bit of a ministry for me. Yeah. Because people get a chance to see who I really am. Yeah. And isn't that what life's really about? Like that kind of sharing? To me, that's exciting. And that pleases me. It makes me happy. Because some people come up in wheelchairs, some people are sick, some people want to be actors, and they have all these questions that maybe if they don't know me, they'd be afraid to ask me, but maybe they have such a high respect for Gus. How do I do this? How do I get in? What do I do? Any advice for a young actor? Any advice for my child? All these things come up. And
you're giving them so much in that moment. That's huge for them.
Absolutely, and it gives me pleasure to make someone happy. But I come from the attitude that being in service is what we have. You know, like we can amass a great deal of money, a great deal of success, a great deal of notoriety, but not much of that's going to make us happy. Yeah. Completely.
Yeah. Because you waited on people for a while, right? Is that a thing?
Waited tables. I drove a school bus. I washed dishes. I remember that part of my life clearly, as if it were yesterday. Because when I finished Do the Right Thing, I went back to working in a restaurant till 4 o'clock in the morning and went to school. Put myself through college, studying for an RTV, radio and television, 2-year associate's degree. So I could do what this gentleman does, and I can do that well. On the very first really high-tech cameras at that time in 1978, 79 was the Ikegami camera. And I was a really good cameraman, and I loved that part of it too. So I think, you know, for me, it's been embracing all of my life and every facet of it. So I find the cons interesting because you have a wide variety of actors, but an even wider variety of people who come to these cons and are able to live a part of their life that they wouldn't be able to live outside of it. They dress up. They put great care into dressing up and being the character that they so adore, even down to the way they speak. Yeah,
every year it gets better and better.
It's amazing to me. And I respect that people really go after their dream in their life, and that they really try to have fun with that, because they wouldn't normally be able to do that in their everyday life on the outside. So in a way, it's a way for them to be all of who they are or they think they'd like to be, that they're unable to express elsewhere. Yeah.
How did you hit it off with Spike Lee so well? Because obviously you guys got on.
Yes.
And the film collaborations worked that you were in. How did that relationship begin, and did you just get on? And once you back,
he came to see me in a play called Zoo Man and the Sign, written by a Pulitzer Prize winner, Charles Fuller. And he came to see the play, and he loved my work and asked me to do his first movie. He was cutting films down at First Run Features for Maxie Cohen. He was literally learning how to edit. And we started to hang out and talk about his first, what was, School Days, which was written initially as a drama and then expanded into a musical. And he asked me to do it. And I liked his sensibility. I liked the fact that he wanted to make film and to promote the images of black people on screen. And I really enjoyed that he became somewhat of a provocateur. And we didn't always agree because I'm half white, half black. So, you know, he was always encouraging me to be pro-black and all black. And he would say to me, Giancarlo, you're an Afro-European. He would always make fun of me, you know, and I'd say, well, what's wrong with that? That's who I am. So I respect Spike a great deal. I think he's done such an incredible job in the films he's made. Some of them are somewhat over the top, and his later films are much more within the reality of the film-based world that I respect a lot. So I just think he's grown quite a bit as a human being and also as a filmmaker.
No, I love that you've been there with him in those early days. That's so neat.
Yeah, we had a great ensemble of actors. I mean, Lawrence Fishburne, Bill Nunn.
It was crazy.
It's crazy.
It was
Sam
crazy.
Jackson.
Yeah, it's like
a great deal of
you
talent.
watch those films today, and it's just such a reminder of where all these people have gone and what's going on. I love it.
Absolutely, and Spike did a great deal for all of us in giving us the opportunity to show our best selves on screen, where Hollywood wasn't doing that, and that is there's something to be said about that. He fought for that, and he still does, and I think it's great.
How's Maze Runner coming along? It's in pre-production.
Pre-production.
So you're getting geared up.
I'm getting geared up, man. I just talked to Wes Ball, who's a ball of energy. I really like him, the director of the film, who directed the first one. He was doing camera tests yesterday. We were on the phone talking about my look. Thus, I have a little overgrown and figuring out how I'd like Jorge to look. I'm intrigued by this particular series. I think it's really wonderful. It's called YD, Young Adult, but those are our next real film goers and our new ideas people.
Big time.
When I saw the first one, it reminded me so much of Lord of the Flies. That whole beginning of that movie felt like Lord of the Flies, a great piece of literature, a great film. And I am intrigued to work with younger people as probably one of the only adults in the movie outside on which the character I play is Jorge. He has his own world that's sort of protected, that he created, and these young people come through, and Wicked tries to come after them. And people who know the first movie know a bit of the story. And he winds up, you don't know if he's good or bad in the beginning, but he winds up forming an allegiance, and who knows what will happen in the third and fourth movies, because I've signed on for 3 movies. But I'm excited. I start in about 4 weeks. They're starting within the next week and a half, 2 weeks. A lot of newcomers in the movie. I love working with new actors, fresh talent who aren't jaded.
No, that's excited by it all.
Yeah.
As you are as well. You've remained excited about it, which I like. You're not jaded yet.
No.
Well, you don't seem to be.
No, I love what I do, and I go to the movies and I'm still taken away. And that's the same sense of and feeling of Comic-Con. If you can go to a Comic-Con and still be taken away, I'm the guy behind there with the line out the door who says, wait a minute, and I'm taking pictures of you. Because I just think and I send it to my kids, and I look at them and I go, wow, what an intricate outfit. You put all your time in. The greatest gift you can give is the gift of your time. That equates to love. And that gift that people spend sewing and doing, just like my work, I spend great time. Right now I'm in this whole place where I'm thinking, who is this character? What does he do? What is his relationship to everyone he speaks to? What does he look like? What does he dress like? I'm waiting for that inspiration. And this is how life should be, to be inspired and to be tickled by things that you do and share.
But I don't think all actors do that. Not so many are bringing that to the table. Obviously, you did it with Gus, and you do it with your characters. You've got ideas, and you bring that in, and those ideas work.
Yeah, I mean, it works on me.
Yeah.
Good writing works on me. So even though I'm at the con and I've had a day off to go to the Barrier Reef, I spoke to Wes, and he threw out some stuff, and I threw out some stuff, and I went, wow, what a great idea. I have this relationship to this girl in the movie. And then so we create a whole backstory. So I say, I was thinking this. He said, wow, I like that. So let me take it even further. I was thinking this. Cool. What if, it's great, because then you start to really create a relationship with an actress I haven't even met yet.
Yeah.
But in the story, it's not in the book, it's not on the script. But what if I did something nefarious that affected her life, and then realized what a horrible thing. I was jaded. I'm a thief, a stealer, a killer, all of these things. You know, I'm a hustler kind of guy, and this energy comes into my life, and it changes me. It makes me look at this world that we're in and not just think about Jorge.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of stuff that I think about.
Yeah.
So that when I get to the set, I'm filled up. You know, I'm filled up. I'm starting as this one person, but then I'm realizing through this relationship that I don't have to stay that person.
Cool.
And then now he's rewriting the third act out of our conversation, because he's like, wow, I like that. I think that, yes. Because I said to him, look, he gets a little lost in that third act. I know it's about the kids. I know it's, you know, Thomas, Dylan O'Brien, he's got to step up and do these things.
Yeah.
But there's this adult there who has a little wisdom. He could call upon him. There could be something happening here. There's some juice there. And he's like, yeah, that's great. So it's a work in progress. And if you think, as opposed to as young actors who think that they look on the page and say, how many lines do I have and how many interactions, I don't look at it that way. I said, and ultimately I said to Wes, look, you're going to work harder on the third act, but no matter what you do, this is what I'm doing. Yeah. This is what I'm going to play. Yeah. If there are more lines or not, this is still what I'm going to play. Yeah. He's like, oh, wow. So I said, don't stress. I'd love for it to be stronger, but I'm going to give you stronger. I'm going to give you that inspiration just from a look. But I would love it if some more were written. So then you're a collaborator. Then you're not thinking about the me. Yeah. When I first met with him, it was this whole conversation about the whole story. I started talking about this. I don't come until page whatever in the film. Don't want to spoil it. But I started to talk about the story from before I even entered the story. And he was like, looked at me, you know, like, you know, and instead of him looking at me like that doesn't concern you, he looked at me and went, oh, wow, yeah, oh, yeah. I was talking about other characters.
Yeah, I think if more people had these sort of interactions, there'd be less shit movies out there. Because at times it feels like someone should just say, would that person do that? Like, what's their motivation there?
I'm a channel for good writing. Yeah. And the better the writing is, the better I'm going to be. I'm a channel for the interaction that goes on. Because I learned it like this. It's like playing tennis. Yeah. If I get the ball over, you get a chance to hit it. The more times we get the ball over that net, the more volleys we have, the more fun it's going to be, the more opportunity. Yeah. You know? So that's the way, that's how I've been. That's how I learned it. Yeah. You know what I mean? But in the beginning, I was that selfish actor who wanted more screen time because I felt like I was not getting
That's what it's about. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to show myself. Yeah. But now I realize sometimes you can show yourself. Look at Breaking Bad and Box Cutter. I don't need to say a word. Oof. If I have, you know, that inside me, it's about what I'm really thinking. And that what I learned was that, you know, from a great acting teacher, you could be reading the phone book. I could read the phone book and make it interesting. You know, that's what my talent is. So the stronger the writing, the stronger the phone book, the stronger I'm going to be. Yeah.
Fucking Box Cutter, man. Got goosebumps just thinking about it.
Loved it. Jesus. So you know, Harold Pinter-esque, you know, waiting for Godot, pauses, no words, nothing said. And that was a great challenge for me, but it was a great exercise. Yeah. Because everything I tell my acting students, that acting is physical. Everything is physical. Yeah. You can't leave your body behind. And certainly in that, an intention. The other thing is intention. Intention in life, intention on the screen. What is your intention? What are you trying to display? If you think about that walking into a room, is your intention to take care of everyone and make them comfortable? Is your intention to allow people to feel uncomfortable? That you walk in the room and you immediately know a person who's going to suck the energy out of the room because they want something. They either want all the attention on themselves, so they walk in and they have attitude because they want something. They want you to be cowed to them. And but that intention is, if you think about it, is very important in our lives.
Yeah, big time. No one's thinking like that though these days. No one's thinking about their intent. They're just
floating.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why so many are lost.
Yeah.
You know, my intention in much of my life is to bring people to their best selves. And that's a service attitude. You know, what can I do to help you make it better for the rest of the world?
Goes back to you waiting, you know? So attitude.
A lot is learned from waiting tables because you learn about yourself. Even when you don't want to be there, you don't want to be in service and someone asks you for the third time for a glass of water, or they want their sea salt, or they want it this way. I learn it when I'm in a restaurant, people think I'm difficult. I'm on a certain kind of cleansing diet. I want to have a salad with cucumbers, this, that, and the other. I want it naked. I want sea salt on the side. I want olive oil. Oh, could I have a half a lemon? They bring me slices. No, I really want half a lemon. I mean what I say.
Yeah.
I understand exactly what I want. Instead of someone saying, that's great, you know what you want, tell me, and getting it right, it's sort of a courtesy. Then I have to ask 5 times, then all of a sudden I'm difficult. No, I know exactly what I want. You know, I tell people, in life, ask for what you want. Why don't you?
Yeah.
You know, it's because we're shy. We're afraid we're going to be looked at, perceived as difficult. We're afraid people are going to think something of us. I just think, you know, I'm pretty clear. Be clear.
Yeah.
It's good to be clear.
Yeah.
And then it's easy, you know. Then you don't have to come back to my table 5 times. But that's what I learned from waiting tables. I learned that, you know, it's not easy to give to be selfless. Yeah. It's not so easy to make 5 trips to the kitchen to get it right for a customer. And the customer should always be right. I walked into a place, a little resort, wanted to be in the woods to go diving as opposed to being in the city. And we were there 9:30, checked in, took our bags in. I remember the gentleman saying that breakfast stops at 10. At 3 minutes to 10, I walked into the breakfast room. Oh, I'm sorry, we're closed. I went, huh. We got up at 4 o'clock in the morning to travel to this place. Yep. And I said, okay, it's only 3 minutes to 10. Should I say something? And we've been traveling for hours. And so we walked back out and sat in the little vestibule. 2 other people walked into the breakfast area. The man grabbed plates, went up to the buffet. And I went, what? Wait a minute. By this time, it's 5 after 10. And I went, how does that work? That they can just go in, well, their breakfast is with the room. And I said, no, I was willing to pay for breakfast. Yeah. We've been traveling. Oh, and then the waiter comes over. Well, she's been sick for 3 days. So we were going to make something for her. And I'm like, but wait a minute. Wait a second. I'm a guest.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yes.
I'm paying you.
Yes. So this is the attitude we have.
Right.
It's because I want to get out of here and I'm on my timing. No, so I have a different attitude. I want
That's when you need to break into Gus mode. You need to go into acting mode and just be a real scary.
Tell people, I have my box cutter, you know. I normally always have my box cutter, but the international travel prevented me. Maybe I'll get to the hardware store. It'll make people think differently. Yeah.
I'll wrap this up because I know you need to be out looking around our beautiful country. This is going to be the most annoying question I've got for you.
Go ahead.
Better Call Saul. Everyone's excited about this. And obviously, watch Breaking Bad. Your involvement with that, where is that at?
So when they started, Vince thought it was going to be a half-hour comedy. And it's becoming more and more Breaking Bad-esque. Yeah. And he asked me if I would be willing to make an appearance way back 1.5 years, 2 years ago. They now have shot their 10th episode, almost finished with that first cycle. And I said, certainly, Vince, I love the idea of this show. Bear in mind, he was thinking it would either be Better Call Saul or The Rise of Gus. And he was down the road with Bob Odenkirk and knew more about Saul than he did about Gus in terms of what he had sussed out. So at this point in time, I know that Peter Gould, one of the writers, has said that he doesn't really believe that Saul knew Gus, that Saul probably knew a guy who knew a guy who knew Gus. Yeah. So at this point, I would have to say no, but it's always possible. As I adore Vince Gilligan and this writing team, I love the actors involved. Yeah. It's possible, but at this present cycle, no.
Okay, no, good to know.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Yeah. I have proposed to Vince, and if I called him, it would be much more intimidating because he knows I get him in the room, and we've had experiences where he wanted to tell me about, 4:13, and he kept getting up and wanting to close the door, and I said, no, you don't close the door. He sat back down, we talked, when am I going to direct one, blah, blah, blah. And he said, no, let me just close the door. No, Vince, I told you, you don't close the door. And he got really nervous. And finally, the 3rd time, he got up, he said, I'm going to close. I said, no, I told you, you don't close the door. And then I busted out laughing. So I could intimidate him a little bit, which was really great to know, So I said to him, I would go to Saul, here's my proposition for you. I'll go do a few Sauls, and then when, I'll do a guest spot here or there, and then maybe we can make a deal to do a show that's a limited edition of 13 called The Rise of Gus. So who knows? Could happen.